Doctor Who Companions, the best returns. There is at least one former Doctor and 3 former Doctor Who companions returning between now and 2023. But this is not the first time old friends have returned to embrace the show's legacy. It's fair to say that there's a lot going on in the world of Doctor Who, but one of the emerging themes is the return of old friends, or in Neil Patrick Harris's case, possibly an old enemy. And this is not the first time the show has reached into its own history to make an episode extra special. The 3 Doctors was the first time Doctor Who looked to its own history. Before 1973, Doctor Who had only flirted with featuring recurring characters beyond the current TARDIS team themselves. Professor Travers from The Abominable Snowmen returned for a sequel later that same series, The Web of Fear, and Colonel Lethbridge Stewart from that story had returned as the Brigadier in the following year's The Invasion, before becoming a series regular in the 3rd Doctor era. But it wasn't until 10th anniversary story The 3 Doctors that returning stars were used to mark out a story as a special event. William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton both returned to the show for encores as the Doctor, even if Hartnell's advancing illness limited the role he could play. It was an idea that had been showing up in letters to the production office for years, but its time finally came as Doctor Who Season 10 went into production. It also set the template for how the return of Doctors, or even companions, could pave the way for Doctor Who to have a dialogue with its own history. That said, it's a shame that an early plan for a cameo by the then longest-serving of the Doctor Who companions, Fraser Hines Jamie, didn't happen. Doctor Who companion the Brigadier became an icon, returning regularly to unite past and present. Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart's status as an iconic piece of Doctor Who's history is taken for granted, so it's easy to overlook how huge his presence in the show actually is. He appeared in at least one story every year between Season 5 and Season 13, a run longer than even Tom Baker's time as the Doctor, albeit it as a recurring character rather than one of the regular-style Doctor Who companions. Ever since, he's been the perfect reminder that the iteration of Doctor Who you're watching is the same show that featured the previous Doctors. He returned not once, but twice for Doctor Who's 20th anniversary, helping the 5th Doctor uncover the mysteries of modern undead in Season 20's opening story, before reuniting with the 2nd Doctor to be swept away to Gallifrey to play the deadly game of Rassilon in the 5 Doctors. The Brigadier was also called out of retirement to save the world alongside the 7th Doctor in Battlefield during Doctor Who's final season before its long hibernation. It made for an appropriate farewell, even though nobody yet knew that cancellation was imminent. But it wasn't the end for the beloved character. The character returned in the 21st century as the knighted Sir Alistair in spin-off The Sarah Jane Adventures, using his influence to help his old friend when UNIT seemed compromised. Though, sadly, actor Nicholas Courtney was too ill to take part in episode The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, which had been planned to team him up with David Tennant's 10th Doctor. The Brigadier has met so many different Doctors that he probably has more reason than most to claim to be the Time Lord's true best friend. Just as people refer to each Doctor needing to have their own first meeting with the Daleks to truly settle into the role, there's a sense of needing their own team-up with the Brigadier too. The 1993 Children in Need Dimensions in Time minisode made a point of having the 6th Doctor briefly encounter the Brigadier to tick that box, as a huge number of former Doctor Who companions, including Susan, Victoria, Liz, Leela, Romana, Nisa, Perry, Mel, and Ace, for brief and slightly bewildering cameos.